I'm JamieStarr for the New World News Network. On this episode, I'm doing basically redoing a video I did last night because my microphone wasn't on, but I do have some updates, including a personal interaction with Talib Kweli. This video, we're going to sort of document his chronicles of, I don't know, clashing with conservatives. But before we get into that, I just wanted to mention, I'm sure as you guys have seen, I've been uploading other documentaries, a handful of odd videos to my channel, really trying to build it as a channel. Hopefully soon, as it grows, we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. I want to thank everyone who sends me articles. Thank you. Hopefully, as it grows and launch the Patreon, if we start making like $200, $300 a week from this, I can then quit my part-time job and focus that time on this and hopefully give you guys a lot more quality content. So thank you everyone for all your support thus far. So let's get into this video. You know, I'm really at the point where I think I'm encouraging people's racism because it's always rooted in such a deep level of ignorance that it's kind of comical. Like, I think the whole thing's funny. I'm probably not going to laugh as much. I did just kind of wake up and saw the original video, didn't have the audio, so I'm redoing it. Not as lively as I was last night, but we'll give you guys the info anyway. Without me cracking jokes. So, first thing, let's get into a little background info, because most people aren't aware of who this guy is. He was a rapper, one of the more conscious rappers. Here's a song he did with will.i.am during his 15 Minutes of Fame on MTV. And mainly the good part of the song is at the end. This is just sort of mindless pop rap.
I'm sending this one out to you and you and you and you. I said to you and you and you. She cold-blooded. Love how we melt in the ice. You like the sunshine of my life, cause all I see is a hot thing. You're my hot thing. And you're my hot thing. And you're my hot thing. Word, you keep my dark sky lit up at night, so bright that you're blinding my...
Now, back then, when this came out, before Iron Man movies and stuff like that, this was kind of edgy, but... you know, and I think I saw Talib perform at Vassar, but anyway, here's the good part of the song. This album I really like.
I got you in the mood, 4 interlude, raw like in the nude. I hope this ain't considered rude, but let's stop talking cause it's feeling like an interview. I know you're into me, so let me get into you. I'm always in the mood for laughing and loving and rapping and passing the Dutch and relaxing and puffing and hitting and ducking and ripping production. These kittens ain't muffins. Just because they stuff them in the oven, my words dripping off the tongue like the wax from a candle wick.
So, very talented rapper, but as it happens far too often lately, musicians, entertainers reveal their politics, and I can just no longer have respect for them. Now, the reason this all came by me is I've been seeing him pop up as he has been continually starting issues with conservatives, conservative media, and this will sort of tie into my interactions with him. Basically, I asked him what, here, we'll do that first. I was going through his timeline. There are some things, in fact, we'll get into, and I saw him tweeting about, you know, the original Black Panthers, their original message, everything like that. So I sent him a message saying, D-Ray was at the White House. Do you ever wonder if BLM is COINTELPRO, similar to the Black Panthers? Of course, he doesn't give a straightforward answer, because it's like trying to nail down Jell-O, as Ben Shapiro would say. He says, I was at the White House last Friday. Does that make me COINTELPRO? Well, considering your music career is in the decline, the federal government subsidizes rappers like Uncle Murder and Mano, possibly. It depends what the context of your visit was there. I also asked him, because he was talking about racists killing Martin Luther King, I said, you know, there was a civil suit where the government paid the King family because the government was responsible, not a racist. He says, newsflash, the government has always enabled white supremacy. This is the, like I said with the Jesse Williams speech, they're like a babbling homeless drunk. They just, you know, I'll have conversations with people on Facebook and they will just say Black Lives Matter out of nowhere, like it is some Trump statement that will just make you immediately stop and go, "Ah, ah," I mean, they have a boogeyman in their head that is like, and it's so funny because if you read Talib Kweli's things, it's all white supremacy is oppressing us, the white supremacy power structure is holding everyone down, the oppression, the struggle is real, white supremacy is fragile, whiteness, white fragility, and it's like, that doesn't say much about you, buddy. If you're talking about how you're oppressed and how you're so held down by something that's so fragile, that makes you weak as fuck. I mean, it does. There's a lack of consistency between this man's own thoughts. And that's what honestly makes me believe they're not his own thoughts. You know, I posted the other day the difference between Democrats and Republicans is Democrats see Republicans as the enemy. Republicans see Democrats as fellow Americans and basically they're misguided teammates. Like, everyone will generally admit, everyone wants the same end goal, a better country for everyone, economic opportunities, things like that. You just have two groups of people that have two completely opposite ideas as to how to achieve it. But these people, and the government has always enabled white supremacy. So Talib, what were you doing hanging out with a bunch of racist enabling white supremacists? That should be the question. So, of course, someone else actually did chime in. They are, in fact, COINTELPRO. D-Ray can be ID'd as COINTEL specifically. Yeah, you check the hacked emails. They're working with the federal government to try to throw a rebellion against the cops and to give more power to the federal government. It's very simple, and it's all right out there. But people get so personally involved that they don't want to hear it. And they don't even care if they say one thing and the next thing they say doesn't make sense in regards to one another. It doesn't matter. It's all compartmentalized in their heads. And whenever there's something they can't answer, it's just, well, the white supremacy, Black Lives Matter, blah, 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 blah. The brand's on a body, but the brand's on a body. I mean, it's nonsense. Nonsense. It's being intellectually drunk. The thoughts are there, but they're nowhere near cohesive. They might even contradict one another, and you just don't even care that they contradict. It's just a ramble. So, I came across his stuff because Gavin McInnes showed a thing where Talib Kweli, and this shows you how there's this thing called like prison logic or something. I saw a video on it once where this guy was talking about food, and he was like, nature doesn't produce any food that's white, so therefore white things are unnatural. So the white man is unnatural. He is an abomination not made from nature. Like this crazy, strain of like just grasping at straws and trying to tie them all together. And that's what he did. Someone sent him the video from Lauren Southern about Black Lives Matter being responsible in the past 30 years for more deaths than the KKK. Now, just in Dallas alone, the KKK hasn't killed anyone in like 30 years. Newsflash, but I know people have a problem with living in the now. So, his response, rebel media, that's code for consent. Oh, man. Yeah, this is getting to be like last night, because there's a good handful of these that are so ignorant, I can't even read them. Rebel media, that's code for Confederacy and KKK, right? Why are you watching terrorist YouTube channels? I mean, you have to be an extreme egomaniac and narcissist to just go around like, ooh, I have the power of deciphering everyone's subconscious. I know the secret codes. You say rebel, and that means rebel flag, Confederate flag. I mean, it's that prison logic again. It's a rebel flag, Confederate flag, KKK. Therefore, rebel media is the KKK. And there's a thing about crazy people where I constantly wonder, when you have someone that's either so ignorant they just babble this stuff, or like a sociopath who just sort of lies compulsively or impulsively, I always wonder, is the crazy person the person lying, or is the actual crazy person the person who agrees with them? Like if someone comes out and it's just like, oh yeah, man, the sky was blood red this morning, and you're like, oh yeah, I see it. Like, who's the crazy person? The one agreeing with the nonsense, or the person saying the crazy shit? So you see his followers, who all are also in this ridiculous, illogical prison logic, because they're mentally enslaved. They're mentally in a prison. Haha, her name is even Southern. How much more obvious can you be? Oh yeah, because it's not like it was Southern Republicans fighting against slavery or any of that. It's Southern Democrats, who I'm sure all of you vote for, but whatever. Details don't matter. There's no need for nuance. Just know white supremacy did everything, and the fragility of the white supremacy is holding us down. So when is Lauren Southern going to call out her KKK ancestors? This is the other thing, the focus on the ancestors. Lauren Southern is Canadian, you moron. So I highly doubt she has KKK ancestors. I mean, these are the same type of people. There's some tweets here where Talib talks about the money the white supremacists made off the plantations, and how supposedly they're still living off of it, as if there were plantations of gold and they had the Negroes picking the gold, and now they're just sitting there like, ooh, I got this pot of gold for my kids to live off of forever, off of these Negroes, currency, inflation, like all types of things that actually concern money don't exist. Just know, white supremacists, and they're still living off the wealth. They still got the money out of all this time. It's not like they made a product and had to sell the product, or economics. That's irrelevant. White supremacy, and it's fragile, but it's dangerous. I mean, alright, so let's get into some background shit. Talib had a spat with Mark Dice. We'll go to this real quick. Talib expects everyone to know who he is for some reason, even though his YouTube numbers
Rapper Talib
are pitiful. So let's let Mark Dice do some explaining of the situation with Ferguson. And this is also, him asking, do you think I'm COINTELPRO? Yeah. Why'd you go to Ferguson? What was the point? I mean, it's not even like you came up with a legitimate answer. Without flesh, without people showing up, Twitter movements, even the movement in Egypt. Oh, so you just had to go there and show face and everything like that. Yeah. This is the shit that makes you suspect, buddy.
Rapper Talib Kweli apparently thinks that he is God. He recently traveled to Ferguson, Missouri, hoping to get himself on television to get some free publicity, and then was stunned when the CNN reporter just didn't know who he was. He tweeted out later, he clearly didn't know who I was. You don't know who I am? You don't know who I am, bro? I was on MTV 12 years ago, bro. The whole world should know who I am. I'm a god. I'm a god. I was on MTV for 15 minutes 12 years ago. Now he's just one of many rappers trying to milk the blood out of the body of Michael Brown at the Ferguson fiasco. Rapper Pig Ross.
One of the first videos I did, and I did this in this sort of vein, and I did it on my music channel before I started this one, but I took the chants that were going around, the Black Lives Matter, hands up, don't shoot, no justice, no peace, and I reversed them, because, people always raise questions about the high-quality printed signs at these protests. Who's funding it? Is Soros funding it? Everything like that. And, which reminds me, let me just add something in. D-Ray also lives at a house paid for by George Soros. Soros is in the biz of overthrowing countries. It's not organic movement. Alright. We'll see if he responds to those. But, you take these phrases and you can reverse them. The same way, you know, in Beyonce's song, I slay, I slay, I slay, hail Satan. And here's the other thing. The shit doesn't sell. If you look, Lemonade, you know, she performed at the Super Bowl. She has such a big, you know, following in the Beehive or whatever. Lemonade only sold 1 million copies. Sasha Fierce sold more than her past 2 albums combined, practically. So as these artists are going into this sort of radicalized black liberation theology, people aren't buying it. Lemonade is the musical equivalent of Ghostbusters. It performed horribly, and someone's got to be funding this shit. Someone's got to be paying for it. And I already did the video on the federal government funding Uncle Murder and Mano, 2 nobody rappers. So if they're funding the nobody rappers, you would think they're funding Beyonce, who's all buddy-buddy with the Obamas. But anyway, all the slogans are things reversed. Like, one of them, no justice, no peace, or hands up, don't shoot. If you play it backwards, it's very clearly cries for help. So I'm probably going to redo that thing. So it's not only the signs they're holding that are glossy, Madison Avenue PR type stuff. It's even the slogans. Even the slogans are backmasked programming messages, and especially when you have a crowd of people just chanting it over and over and it gets stuck in your head, it's because it's hitting you forwards and backwards. So they're milking the blood out of this situation. And you know, like you saw in the D.L. Hughley Megan Fox video, anyone tries to bring up, hey, you jumped the gun on this, you know, you pushed this false narrative, it wasn't factual whatsoever, they just don't want to hear it. They will basically say, fuck those black people saying he didn't have his hands up, you know, whatever. The story is more important than the facts, basically. So they definitely are. I mean, who funded this? Who funded this don't shoot shit? Probably the federal government. And again, the federal government, I pointed this out to Talib, blacks are disproportionately targeted by gun crimes, drug crimes. That's the federal government. That's Obama's domain. Obama has the power to stop and end those, but he doesn't. So it gets real odd to me when Black Lives Matter and D-Ray are meeting with Obama, the top cop, the one who's issuing the marching orders to the police. They take issue with the police. They're buddy-buddy. I mean, think of it like a chess game. Black Lives Matter are the pawns, the police are the rooks, and Obama is the king. So you have the pawns fighting with the rooks, and the king is playing both sides, and he's trying to get the pawns to demand that the king has more power over the rooks. The king, who is already responsible for the mess we're in, they want him to have more control. It makes no sense. And again, this is stuff I'm really good at. I'm really good at wargaming, figuring out strategies and stuff like that. And people get so personally involved in this that they just fail to see that aspect of it, because they are just like, oh, well, black, I'm part of this. Like, oh, my life matters. I'm not going to critically analyze a group that is spouting this positive affirmation about my life because it makes me feel good. So they're not thinking critically. It's all emotional manipulation going on here.
The Game, P. Diddy, 2 Chainz, and other scumbags who've built their careers off of promoting mindless murder and violence just released their song, Don't Shoot! Don't Shoot! You don't know who I am! Talib Kweli.
It's beyond hysterical for all of these artists to put out a song called Don't Shoot after the careers they've made for themselves. Now, Talib doesn't do a lot of that gun talk and you know, the gangster rap shit, which is respectable, but it's so problematic, and not like social justice warrior problematic, but it's obvious hypocrisy. And it's like, I'll tell you what, I just wouldn't be able to do it. If I made a career as like a gangster rapper and someone was like, hey man, we're trying to get everyone together, do this Don't Shoot track, blah blah blah, I'd just be like, what? You gotta cut a big check for me to make myself into a hypocrite. but whatever.
Kweli, by the way, in 2008 was a vehement supporter of President Obama. Oh, and then recently some people say, well, he doesn't really support him anymore. Oh, well, here's just an interview from just a few months ago where he calls him the most amazing president ever.
Are you disappointed at all in Obama's presidency?
To be honest,
Beyond the symbolism?
no.
No, I'm not disappointed at all. I love President Obama. He's done such a great job just going back on all of his promises and expanding the wars, expanding the Big Brother warrantless wiretapping.
Yep, expanding all the laws that disproportionately target black people, and you know, because he can't take any blame for that. He's black. I mean, that would be a level of responsibility that we are just not comfortable with. It would just be far better to assume white people are the only ones capable of being responsible with anything. You know, when you people who talk about white supremacy, the flip side of that, of white supremacy, is black inferiority. So if you are believing that there's this white supremacist structure and you're in this collectivist mindset, the flip side is you believe black people are inferior. That's why, you know, there's this, oh, well, black people commit crime, but you got to understand the socioeconomic circumstances. You got to understand the struggle and the history. And it's basically just loose, again, grasping at straws, spouting off this nonsense babble, which equates to, because my bank account was negative, it's okay for me to rape someone or to rob them. I mean, it's sociopathic at the least. So we'll see. Here's this other video when Mark Dice and him got into a spat. And you can see I wasn't...
Rapper Talib Kweli.
I wasn't trying to trigger Talib Kweli, but realistically, from the mindset he holds, he should have been like, I was at the White House last Friday, and I should have been like, oh, cooning? My coon senses are tingling. We'll get into that, because I'm referencing the Breitbart article. But again, you're saying the government's enabling, you know, racists and this and that. The government was responsible for Martin Luther King, but I was chilling at the White House on Friday. Yeah, being a coon. You're the actual coon. You're the ones in bed with your oppressors. It's Stockholm Syndrome and cooning. That's the actual coon shit. I mean, for him to call anyone a coon and then to be chilling with the top cop is mind-boggling. But again, don't expect logic. Expect everything to be disconnected and to negate itself and everything like that.
A taste of mainstream success in 2002 with his song and music video Get By, had an epic mental meltdown on Twitter last night, tweeting about how much he hated me for over 6 hours, calling me a racist, saying I have white privilege, and even calling me a mental midget, while making a grammatical error in the tweet. And while I'm not a grammar Nazi, you have to admit that that is hilarious. It all started after I called him out in one of my previous videos for going down to Ferguson and going on getting some FaceTime on CNN. Even CNN's Don Lemon is like, why are you here? And so Talib saw the video and said, he runs circles around me, son. You're a clown. That was at 151.
Wasn't Ferguson the city where it's like the whole police department, the whole government, and everything was run by black people? I think so. Anyway.
p.m. and then the madness just continued. 2:59. You're a garden slug. You're a mental midget. By the way, it's supposed to be, you know, your contraction.
You know, and it's funny because Talib will tell people, you ain't intellectual, and it's like, look at what you're a garden slug. You're a mental. So intellectual. I mean, it's so mindless. This is where I say it's funny. If someone who's presenting actual arguments and your response is, you're a garden slug. I mean, who's the actual mental midget? The person with a legitimate point that could be researched, or the person just throwing names? Name calling. That's all it is. But again, we can't have standards for the Negro because, you know, white supremacy is out here somewhere.
Are a mental midget. Anyway, I can forgive that one, but it just kept going. Your white privilege is showing. Oh, my privilege. Yes. Oh, my white privilege, you know, helped buy me my first $900 car that I bought with my own money, and a piece of crap 1981 that was the ugliest car in the whole college parking lot.
And you can also see there's a obvious denial of reality from the Black Lives Matter demands, where it's basically we want free college. We want $15 an hour jobs. It's basically, we want communism. Whatever the person at the very, very top has, we want that. And it's not like this is also going on at a time where you see both the BBC and the CBC running advertisements for job positions and saying white people don't apply. I mean, there's blatant discrimination going on from groups that are paid for by taxpayers. I'm pretty sure the BBC and the CBC are paid for by the taxpayers, and they are being discriminated against. The people of Britain are subsidizing their discrimination. How crazy. And then you have people, the white supremacy fragility is holding us down. Get out of here.
Yeah, that's my white privilege. This is nonstop. Your racism is more thinly veiled than you are. Oh, yes, my
You want to talk about a pseudo-intellectual. There's a lot of projection going on here. When we get through his Twitter, because Twitter is a goldmine of comedy. Because, again, this person thinks they are intellectual and presenting intellectual arguments when all it is deflection. It's a whole bunch of just illogical fallacies. Oh, D-Ray was at the White House. Well, I was at the White House being a bunch of coons.
Racism, even though I just grew up watching The Cosby Show, and I'm a big supporter of Martin Luther King, and watched The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, big Mr. T fan, and not to mention, made out with a black chick once, too. But yeah, it just kept going and going. Oh, here he tweeted out my video where I got my N-word pass. Apparently that's racist, too, even though the video proves it's not. 324, the insanity just continued. 340, you tweeted me, bro. Now I'm slaying you. Oh, man, he's slaying me. Oh, I feel so bad. I'm going to cry now. Some dude on MTV for a few minutes a decade ago is calling me names on Twitter. Oh, boo-hoo. Absolutely incredible. You trolled me. Now I'm on his head. 343. The madness just keeps continued all day, all afternoon, and all night. 458. 510, you're an ultra-conservative homophobe. He started it. 518 just kept going and going and going. The only explanation for this is that I really struck a chord with him. I mean, there's an old saying that says that the dog that barks loudest got hit. 555. Yeah, he came.
There's a tweet underneath here that's very funny, too. Why do you talk like you aren't from the rich part of Brooklyn? That's funny, because again, remember the guy in the one college who was going on a hunger strike? He was the son of a millionaire. I mean, that's the other crazy thing. Black people who actually have to struggle, they work alongside tons of white people, and they see everyone struggling together, and they don't hold these ideas. It's only seemingly like these warped black people who have okay lives that are concerned about the white supremacy because they want more. They never had to work for anything, so they're cool with demanding more shit that they don't have to work for. It's very odd, the sort of dynamic. People call them the champagne socialists and stuff. There's even a tweet in Talib's timeline where someone asks, if there's this power structure and white supremacy, then how have you become so accomplished? And he honestly goes out and says, the fact that I made it shows that there is oppression there. So in his mind, the fact that Oprah is a billionaire, the fact that Obama is president, the fact that there are numerous successful black people in America shows that they are being oppressed. I mean, and this is where I just ask these people, if there was this white supremacist power structure, it's fucking failing. It's fucking failing in Britain when they're putting out jobs and they're saying, no white people apply. How is that holding white people up over black people when it is literally doing the opposite? Denial of reality in full effect.
Got hit. 555. Yeah, he came at me. Or, by the way, you're not a bro, you're not my bro, et cetera, et cetera. But the other explanation is that maybe Talib was a fan of mine, and then he really got his feelings hurt off one of my videos. I'm not going to drop any names, but I got some pretty popular people in the music industry that are fans of mine that I've tweeted back and forth with and DM'd. Maybe he was one of them. Maybe it's look at this.
I don't think he's in the closet about being racist. Again, that's the other thing, the codes and the deciphering. deciphering the subconscious microaggressions into the interpretation of it, because how I feel, and then the slavery of the history of the struggle. I mean, it's drunk babbling, belligerent, ignorant, babbling drunks. This is intellectually drunk. That's what it is. There's no coherence. There's these accusations that, you know, even if you do something nice for a black person, you are just subconsciously trying to make up for your inherent bias because you bear the original sin of being Caucasian. Like, these people all need to be marched off a cliff. Not for no other reason than their narcissism, that they are so full of themselves that they think that they know everyone else's thoughts. Not even their conscious thoughts, their subconscious thoughts. There's a level of arrogance required to make these sort of claims that I think should be punished by being marched off a cliff. So, next video.
Rapper Talib Kweli, who got a taste of mainstream success 12 years ago with one of his music videos playing on MTV briefly, needs some help. His recent official music videos only get 40,000 views, so he started some beef with yours truly, tweeting yesterday, dragging R.A. the Rugged Man into it. Watch your man.
Also a complete moron. If anyone has seen R.A. the Rugged Man, he debated Jared Taylor on Gavin McInnes' show, and I mean, it's essentially like him being like, well, you know, black people are arrested, and they had chains on them in slavery, and chains on them in the prison, so the prison is because of the white supremacist, capitalist, patriarchy. It's not like, you know, you commit a crime, or, you know, anything like that. It's not like you get a lawyer and a trial, or any of that nonsense. I mean, those details, that doesn't matter. Chains there, how do I feel? Everyone's racist. Simple as that. I mean, it's mental midgets. That's what it is. They lack a complete sense of nuance. No details are needed. It's just the white supremacy is out there. That's the reason for everything. It's not like there's consequences for actions or anything like that. You know, we can't understand that, boy.
And Mark Dice, he say he got an N-word pass. We'll see. Also calling me a, quote, racist fraud. Because apparently he doesn't like this video that I did. White guy talks...
Doesn't that negate itself? If you were a fraudulent racist, doesn't that mean you're not racist? I wonder.
N-word with black people, which, by the way, has almost 500,000 views, which is more than basically the last dozen official Talib Kweli music videos combined, which is a satirical video where I interview black people about the taboo of white people using the N-word, particularly when singing along to rap music. But Talib Kweli, either having no sense of humor whatsoever or just trying to start some beef to try to get some people to watch his videos, since 85 million people have watched mine, because Talib's recent official music video for What's Real barely has 44,000 views. That's pathetic. My Jay-Z Illuminati musical Satanism documentary has 1.5 million. Another recent Talib Kweli video from earlier this year, Rare Portraits, has under 75,000 views.
Now, you want to talk about the extreme narcissism and arrogance. For Talib Kweli to be like, Don Lemon must not know who I am, it shows that he is obviously either completely unaware of his YouTube views and the day and age it is, or any, you know, again, any details, for him to not realize, yeah, no one knows who you are at this rate. You know, 75,000 views, that's nothing in this day and age. I mean, granted, I wish I could get that on my videos, but you were on MTV, you were established, and now your 15 minutes is over, so you're trying to be some sort of racist provocateur. It's ridiculous. And so he just starts Twitter beefs left and right with conservatives. So Mark goes through the rest of the numbers. They're all in line with this. Mark will get 3 million views on something. Talib can barely crack 100,000. So No action taken by Twitter after rapper calls Black Breitbart reporter coon. Oh, and see, and here's the other thing. Look at D right here. Sucking up to the guy who runs Twitter at the White House. Sucking up to the... I mean, this is the activities that are normally labeled coon activities. Black people sucking up to the white man because they want to be accepted into the white man's power structure. Obama runs the White House. This white guy owns Twitter. So he sucks up to them, gets all buddy-buddy with them. That is the standard coon Uncle Tom behavior. But for some reason now it's flipped, where if you criticize black people being all buddy-buddy with what they call white supremacy, you're the coon. It makes no sense. But again, these people set a very low standard for themselves of basically subhuman, and then they choose to live up to that standard of being subhuman and believing certain races can do things other can't, and all this nonsense. So, Jerome Hudson with racial epithets on Twitter, but faced no disciplinary action from the platform. Of course. 40-year-old rapper began his attack on Hudson by writing, "Who's this clown writing for Breitbart? My coon senses are tingling. Are you ready to talk about real freedom now, Jesse Williams? My coon senses are tingling. Talib at the White House? My coon senses are tingling. What are you doing? Sucking up to the racist enablers, buddy." Hudson responded, "Why are you so quick to resort to name-calling, my brother? Can you not respect me as a man and attempt a civil conversation?" Of course not, because people who are concerned with racism are racist, and they are so racist, they're even racist against one another. I mean, you saw this with the Iron Girl thing, where, oh, what black actresses do we want to play her? Oh, she ain't black enough, she's being whitewashed. Oh, black isn't black enough, we need black, like midnight black, not like black. Off a cliff with all of you. To which rapper responded, "No, I don't respect you as a white man. You are here to enable white supremacist lies about people of color. You suck." Again, you know, the white supremacist is his trump card. He thinks if he just says that automatically makes everything true. It's a conspiracy theory, basically. There's no details, there's no individuals, there's no person. It's in the ether. It's all around us. And if people end up on top of the supremacy, that proves the supremacy. It's like climate change logic, you know. Oh, it's getting colder outside. Yeah, it's getting colder outside because the earth is warming. Somehow. Oh. Talib, a support Black Lives member, featured on Obama's playlist, was reacting to an article written by Sonny Johnson, tweet by Hudson. Let's see. But of course, Jerome E. Hudson was too busy tomming for and being a black mascot to the racists over at Breitbart. Yup, of course, if you don't agree with them on politics, you must be a racist. Many of Kweli's followers began responding to comments Hudson made about Grey's Anatomy star Jesse Williams' standing ovation, garnering speech at the BET Awards about racial justice and white appropriation of black culture. Again, Marxist nonsense, communist bullshit. Several of Kweli's followers took umbrage with the Breitbart news video, which showed Hudson calling out Williams for decrying racism while ignoring the self-sabotage in black America. You can't expect responsibility. I mean, this is the other thing. Nah, Talib, right, use a coon. Look at those books. W.E.B., Marcus Langston, whatever. I mean, and again, this is... Who's the racist? The black person who only respects books written by black people, or the black person who would read any book because they're interested in the content of that book? Who's the racial supremacist in that? I mean, this is so obvious. But these people are too dumb to understand that. Plus, what you said was coon-tastic. You either cooning for money or attention or both. Oh, well, why was Talib cooning up at the White House? This nigga got Trump books on his shelf, writes for Breitbart, but got something to say about Jesse Williams. Fuck out of here. Oh, Trump, a billionaire. And here's the other thing. They don't understand Trump is a second-generation, like, immigrant. His dad came from Germany. He has nothing to do with slavery or plantations. I'm sure they would think his wealth was acquired off the backs of black people somehow, as if he doesn't hire black people who enter into an economic agreement with them. But something about Jesse Williams, a white actor who spouts off a bunch of rhetoric like a drunk on stage at the BET Award. The brains on a body, like the brains on a body. And I bet you when he said that, Talib was like, "Oh shit, nigga, I wish I wrote that." I mean, after he comes out to this ridiculous critique, he's shocked to be called a coon. Yeah, by a bunch of coons. Coontown leaving. I mean, and these people think they're being intellectual with this. They're just name-calling. They're playground bullies. Intellectually bankrupt. Nice. No, playground bullies. That's all he is. White people kill other whites at the same rates. Buddy. You better check your stats. Except without systemic oppression involved. Where's the system? What system? Oh my god. See, I don't have the patience for this morning because it's so ignorant. I can't really find the humor in it right now. Days later, Qualib's Twitter trolls were still hurling racial epithets at Hudson. I lead by example. That's why I'm well respected in my field. Yeah, but not highly viewed or paid. But whatever. And people love when I chop these heads off the coons. Yup, I live for reading Talib Kweli's timeline. Hurts to read, the coon fights so valiantly, but facts. See, this was one, it took me 3 tries because I couldn't hold back my laughter reading that. This is what I talked about when you have crazy and you have the person supporting crazy who's even crazier. This person is even crazier than Talib. So, Talib explains why he's not violating Twitter's rules because calling a coon ain't an attack. Rapper Talib Kweli gave some insight into Twitter's notoriously opaque standards, where he said he's allowed to call black journalists a coon as much as he wants. It's not racist when a black man uses the term. He continually tries to say Neuro wrote fake tweets, that a woman can call another woman a bitch, and he can call a black man a coon, and something about encouraging followers to harass Leslie Jones, as he encouraged followers to harass Mr. Hudson. Coons going coon. That's it. Oh my god, intellectually mind-blowing. That's so deep. That is the deepest thing I've ever heard. You dumbass coon friends can't recite my lyrics because they coons and my lyrics over they heads too black. Like Midnight Black or like Black. I just don't, it's, oh my god, this white privilege of mine, I cannot even grasp the intellectual, groundbreaking level that Talib Kweli is at. I mean, oh my god, calling someone a coon, that's like Socrates. I mean, he is like the Black Shakespeare. Let's see what's next with this brilliance. I love calling Sheriff Clark a coon. Oh my god. This needs to be written in stone right here. These are the most intellectually groundbreaking thoughts of our generation. Coontown, Coonville, dumbass coon. Too black. Someone, oh my god, it's right up there. It's like the fucking Bible, the 10 Commandments coming from this dude's mouth. Oh, yeah, same all the other stuff. Are you ready to talk about real fear? Oh, my coon senses are tingling. Yup, right up there, right next to Mount Rushmore, baby. So, I assume I don't have any updates from this moron, but I will keep everyone posted on them, and we're just going to quickly stroll through this. If you ever want to see a barrage of ignorance, just check out Talib's timeline. He has obviously given up on his rap career with his dismal numbers, and just decided to go full steam ahead into race-baiting ignorance, which maybe the White House is cutting him a check for it. But, all he does is sit there and have beefs. You tried to troll me on Twitter and people are clowning you for it. I ain't sent nobody. You ain't never seen a goon. Let's see. No, don't act like timeline is annoying when you are really a thinly veiled white frailty. Hashtag white frailty. Oh, but the white frailty is so oppressive to Talib because he is obviously, again, the idea, if something is frail, it is weak. So if something that is weak is reigning supreme and oppressing you, that means you are lower than weak. I mean, it's really dark mindset to have. I don't encourage anyone to ever think like this. Let's see. Jay, one of the best, said in that shout-out he admired how I rap. So what qualifies your shitty opinion? Answer? Let's see. Talib Kweli can't name 5 classic songs. He was just shouted out in a Jay-Z. That's his claim to fame. Yeah, basically, that's what the numbers would say. You've been to America on business, and this is a proof you offer for your xenophobic comments. Oh, I wonder... No need to diss. Let's see. All Americans are low-bred and from rodent-infested hoods. Explain this. These are all newer ones. Where's the good ones? Someone, I'm having a spat with Talib Kweli. This is jokes. Exactly, you're a joke. Stay in your lane, buddy. Don't swerve. Oh, Talib. Context is king. Oh, man. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, yeah, here's the other thing. Why should she have to prove she's black? Because she's choosing to troll black people and say racist shit. That's why. You cool with racism? Why? No, the racist person is asking someone to prove their skin color because their perception of the person's argument will be changed based on the skin color. I mean, their insults won't, their name-calling won't, but it will add a slight variation. I mean, the racist person is obviously the person asking someone to prove their race, right? Let's see. I was at the White House. Does that make me COINTELPRO? Yep, buddy. You can see there's my tweets on his thing. Bunch of Martin Luther King stuff. Those folks be on Facebook. LOL, this troll most likely racist, pretending to be a person of color. That's how they do on Twitter. Oh, because if they're a person of color and they think differently than Talib Kweli, then you must be a coon and you should be name-called and cast aside. Prove it. You ain't black. How did MLK get in that grave? Oh yeah, he's shot. Shot by a racist. No, it was the government conspiracy. It came out in courts. When white people fight with you on race-related topics and start quoting MLK after their people killed him for those same beliefs. Their people. See, you are, because of your skin color, you are inherently guilty for what the next person did. But if we try to say, oh, well, this black person killed a bunch of people, so all black people, are doing this, well, then you're racist. Double standards, but whatever. Let's see. No matter how many times white supremacists, KKK apologists, it'll never be true. KKK and Black Panthers both in the same category. Yeah, they were both infiltrated by COINTELPRO and led in a really dark direction. Considering foreign aid a form of reparations, as if, I mean, technically we've poured plenty of money into Africa. You may not like what they do about it. I mean, we don't like how Israel spends all of their money, but what's your point? Oh, and then of course this. Breast cancer awareness. All cancers matter. Save the way all mammals matter. The struggle is real. Oh, and then of course this. If this didn't happen when you tried to school, hashtag not oppressed. Because I'm sure it happened, Talib growing up in the rich part of Brooklyn, that he had people outside protesting him going to school. Oh, of course. I don't know why these people, I've said before, I ended up in therapy once because I was so overwhelmed with taking on the burden of all of my friends that it really prohibited me from functioning correctly and healthy, and I had very little time for myself because I was trying to fix all of my friends' problems. These people bask in the idea of trying to live through someone else's oppression because it gives them a reason to basically write off their own worthlessness. If this couldn't be your punishment for winking at a blonde, y'all not oppressed. I bet that's not your punishment either, Talib. But, if you go to England, if you whistle at a girl in certain areas, you could be arrested, but whatever. Talib, want to talk about race supremacy? How about telling BLM, whites, and white media to get to the back? I guess you're okay with it. And of course, all poor baby, not every black protester is BLM. Your ignorance of what oppression actually is astounding. Trying to nail down the jello, can't give a direct answer, just, deflect. There's never any argument being made. Yeah, Talib Kweli, if you haven't picked it up by now, he is incapable of putting together an actual argument that involves any actual fact. Do you feel Mexicans and blacks are in the same struggle? I think if we unite, we will be a force to be reckoned with. See, our race is cool with that race, but we're not cool with the white race. I mean, this is crazy racist shit. Again, with the white supremacy stuff, you guys are very predictable. Yeah, it's his I'm backed into a corner, supremacy. Yes, white supremacy is so predictable, it's hilarious. Well, if it was so predictable, it wouldn't be oppressing you. If you knew anything about the art of war, if you really understood your enemy, you can act before them. I don't see anybody calling white criminal moms queen and how they wish they could be like them if I didn't say something too. Bullshit. You literally go hunting online for black people to disagree with. Nobody was even talking to you. Fuck you. You see how that works when there's a little bit of fact coming up? When someone says, listen, this is the most destructive thing in the black community. The fact that we have these single mothers, we have basically told black men, fuck you. And then it lifted these single mothers up as champions. Even though single mothers, white or black, your kids are more likely to end up in crime, whatever, because you have no sense of discipline coming from the father side. Fuck you. Bullshit. You go hunting. A fact. Keep it away. White supremacy. Racist. Let's see. It's weird to me that's a controversial point of view, though. Only thing here is you're weird obsessed with people of color expressing their pain. Oh, where's the suffering? You fucking monster. I mean, this is, like I said, carve Talib's words in stone, because this is intellectually on a whole other level. My point of view is that people that hate cops shouldn't be idolized or called queen. Why does Corey Gaines bother you so much? You tweet for days on end about white criminal moms who've been killed off. Most white criminal moms don't point shotguns at cops while holding their child in their arms. This is the problem with Black Lives Matter. They find the worst, most disgusting, degenerative people and lift them up as saints. Plenty of white people on Section 8, but they ain't no white people on Section 8 because they're white. Oh, black people are on it because they're black? I was unaware of that. Oh, what did I say that was racist? I didn't say I'm hurt. Sounds like you are the hurt one, talking about being all oppressed. Your entire miserable existence is one big hard-on for white supremacy. Oh my God. The intellect. Social justice warriors' priority is to make themselves look good rather than actually helping others. Yeah, it is. Virtue signaling the whole way. Really? Then what's your priority? How exactly do you combat injustice? Oh, well, I figure out how the justice system actually works, and then I would try to reform the laws that are actually oppressing people, rather than going after the enforcers, enforcing someone's policy written by the politicians. I would cut the snake off at the head. That's what I would do. But these guys don't do that. They get all buddy-buddy with the head of the snake, and then they have the hands oppressing them. I mean, it's the chess analogy I gave. And you figure out how it works, and then you go after it. You don't just say, oh, well, this is happening, so it must be racism, because anytime anything happens, it just must be. I mean, this simple-minded, woo-woo, boo-boo, baby, racist shit needs to fucking end. Oh, of course. I love when people bring out Chris Rock jokes as if they're, like, factual arguments. Shaq is rich. The white man who signs his check is wealthy. Ah, here you go, Shaq. Buy yourself a bouncing car. Bling, bling. If you knew anything about Shaq's money, Shaq owns franchises. He is one of the most well-invested black men there is. Shaq is wealthy. He is not... He is a boss. He is a real boss. And he is not getting checks cut anymore from white guys. He's making his own money because he invested well. Let's see. Arguing with people only brings attention to an absurd argument, Mr. Kweli. Good, that's exactly what I'm doing. Bringing attention to how absurd racism is. Yeah, he is displaying his racism on full effect and how absurd he is. You still haven't explained... Oh, here's the good ones. You still haven't explained how you overcame the horrible, horrible oppression in America. I guess you're just better than them. I don't owe you any explanation. I have already told you I succeed in spite of oppression. You're illiterate. You should teach others how to be like you, and you can overcome this horrible oppression from systematic racism. I do daily, even with fuckboys like you all in the way trying to stop me. You mad 'cause you can't, bitch. But of course, I guess he's privileged, so why would he be mad? I mean, this is drunken babble. I mean, anyone who's spent time around a homeless drunk guy on a street corner just sort of blurting things out, this is the intellectual level Talib Kweli is at. White privilege is a myth, an excuse. How did you become wealthy with the oppression of white privilege on your back? 3. Even your illogical interpretation of oppression was correct. Why shouldn't I care about others who remain oppressed? 2. Why do you think exceptions to the rules mean those rules no longer exist? The exception to the rule proves the rule. There's that climate change logic. Oh yeah, there's global warming. How do we know that? Because the earth is getting colder. Yeah, there's systemic oppression. How do we know that? Because people are accomplishing things in the face of it. What? So, the proof of oppression is people who excel and make it to be millionaires? Well, nonsense. You fragile, the intellectual genius right there. Alright, so I'm done with this. I'll let everyone know if I receive any responses from him. As I said, he asked if he's COINTELPRO. I said no, the phone hack proved it. And you see, here I have this guy talking back radio who is liking everything I had to say because I'm actually posing an intellectual argument. I said, I know that the phone hack shows it. Besides, blacks are targeted by gun, drug crimes. Those are federal law. The president, who is in charge of all the laws that disproportionately target blacks. I almost wonder if they are unaware they are pawns attacking rooks and demanding more power to the king, the person who is oppressing them. But You know, see, I can do this metaphor nonsense too and everything else, except I actually have the facts on my side. I'm not just, crying white supremacy is basically like crying witch at this point. Like, oh, you don't know what happened, must be witchcraft. Ooh, evil voodoo. So, it's ridiculous. So, anyway, I'll keep you guys posted if I get anything interesting from this moron. So, have a good one.